Hello everybody, my name is Walter and this is episode 38 of my Redstone Commands Series. In this episode I want to cover the world border command. Now this command is used to manipulate the world border itself. If you don't know, the world border is an artificial limit to how much you can access of the Minecraft world itself. If you try to get through it, you will basically be hard stopped. Outside of the world border also mobs won't spawn and there are no hitboxes, so you can mine or place blocks. So there is not much of a reason to go out there, especially since you get actually damaged and even damaged more the further out you go. Nevertheless, there are a few ways to get around in the world border or outside of the world border. For example, teleportation with the chorus or the ender pearl. You can use the teleport command if you have access to commands. You can also respawn out of it if your respawn point is already outside of the world border. Or you can let it overtake you if it's shrinking. But as I said, it doesn't make much sense to go beyond. But why would you actually need a world border? Well, let's say you have an adventure map and you want to make sure that the players actually stay on the island and don't try to go out in the world where you don't actually want any players. That's one use case. Or maybe you want to play a mega hardcore mode where you need to kill a certain amount of mobs within a certain time span, or the world will shrink, making the entire effort even a bit more difficult. Just a few ideas there. But with that said, let's start with the syntax of this command. Now, this command supports 8 different modes. All of them start with the name of the command Worldborder. The first is the get mode. This one will simply give you the current diameter of the world border. The default value here would be the 60 or just shy of 60 million blocks, which is the maximum size of a world. But if you have used the command in the past, it can be different. Set and add work very similar, the only difference being that set changes the world border to the given distance, and add will increase or decrease the current value by the distance. If you furthermore give it a time, which is optional, then that change to the new size will take that many seconds. If the world border is shrinking, it turns red. If it's increasing in size, it will turn slightly more green. If you need to recenter the world border due to maybe your island not being centered around the 0, 0 coordinate, you can do this with the center mode. Here only the X and the Z coordinate is needed because the world border obviously goes from the bottom of the world to the top of the world. Unfortunately, there is no get center also at the moment, so you can't get and figure out what the current center of the world would be, or of the world border would be. Damage amount followed by a number changes how much damage you will get if you go beyond the world border. This is measured in damage per second per block distance to the world border. Damage buffer defines a safety area behind the world border where you won't get damaged yet. The default value here is 5. This is basically if you are overtaken by a shrinking world border, you have a bit of a safety margin to actually get into the world border again. Warning distance followed by the distance allows you to change how close to the world border you have to get before the user interface starts to get tinted in red. So you get the warning. Warning time followed by a time is important or interesting when the world border changes its size. Essentially, if you are overtaken, if you're standing still and would be overtaken by the world border within that time, then you will get the visual warning. The default value here is 15 seconds. And with that, let's get to the examples. Now let's start with just checking the current size. So world border get, and we are at 150 blocks. If we try to set it to the same number, we will just get a warning or the message that, well, nothing has changed. Similar to when we want to place a block where the same block is already. So let's set it to the maximum here, so roughly 60 million, just slightly shy of that. And I'm giving it 60 seconds. So now what you can see here is what I suspect is actually a bit of a bug, because the world border is actually increasing. But if it were shrinking with that velocity, then I would be within the 15 seconds of it overtaking me, so I'm getting the visual warning. That's at least what I suspect is going on here. Nevertheless, let's make it small again. And now let's just add 32. And you can see this changes instantaneously because I didn't give it any kind of time span. So let's do the opposite. Let's decrease the size by 20 within 15 seconds. And you can see if I get close to it, I get a warning, even if I'm further away than just the 5 blocks. And you can see if I stand still, it can overtake me. And if I were in adventure or survival mode, or if I wasn't falling down, then I would get damaged now. And now, as you can see, the world border turned blue again since it stopped moving. And well, with that said, we have already reached the end of this little episode here about the world border command. I hope you enjoyed it, and well, see ya.